Imagine drinking blood mixed with mare's milk while riding 16 hours straight in sub-zero temperatures. This was daily life for Mongol soldiers under Genghis Khan's command. In this documentary, we'll examine the brutal reality these warriors endured from childhood training to battlefield horrors. Could you survive even a single week living as they did? Most Mongol soldiers began military training at age 3, mastering horseback archery before most modern children learned to ride a bike. But what drove these young warriors to endure such unimaginable hardships? From freezing nights in the steppes to the rigors of constant warfare, their lifestyle demanded extraordinary resilience and unwavering loyalty. What if your childhood games weren't just for fun, but preparation for killing? For Mongol children, playtime served a deadly purpose. While modern parents worry about screen time, Mongol families focused on transforming their children into warriors from their earliest years. Mongol military training began at age 3, when most modern children attend preschool. These children learn to ride horses before walking properly, their small legs barely straddling the animals that would become extensions of themselves. Balance became second nature as daily hours on horseback molded bodies that grew accustomed to the motion defining their future lives. By age 5, young Mongols received their first bows, functional weapons scaled for children's hands, not toys. Training progressed methodically from stationary shooting to firing while walking, running, and then ultimately on horseback. While today's 6-year-olds might celebrate hitting a baseball, Mongol children celebrated striking targets with arrows while controlling galloping horses using only their legs. As children developed, training intensified. 10-year-olds participated in organized hunts, targeting dangerous predators, wolves, snow leopards, and bears. These weren't sporting events, but military exercises where children faced genuine danger. A modern equivalent might be sending elementary school students to hunt mountain lions with only basic weapons and expecting them to return successful or face punishment. These hunts taught tracking, teamwork, and weapon precision while normalizing the act of killing living creatures. Weather conditions during training were deliberately harsh. Children endured Mongolian winters with temperatures dropping to negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit, learning to build basic windbreaks while often sleeping exposed to elements fatal to unprepared humans. This conditioning created warriors who viewed blizzards as normal operating conditions rather than emergencies. Young trainees learned to extract blood from their horses' neck veins, mixing it with mare's milk for a protein-rich substance consumed during extended rides. This precision skill required practice to avoid harming their mounts, while ensuring they could travel for days without carrying substantial food supplies. Endurance tests pushed children beyond conventional limits. 8- and 9-year-olds rode for multiple days with minimal rest, sleeping briefly on frozen ground. Throughout these ordeals, they maintained high archery standards regardless of exhaustion. Children failing these tests faced social shame and additional training, standards never lowered for struggling trainees. Around age 12, boys faced the final phase, surviving alone in the wilderness for weeks with only basic weapons. They hunted for sustenance and defended themselves against the same predators they'd previously hunted in groups. Many returned injured but hardened. Some never returned at all. Survivors earned their place among the Mongolian warriors. This lifelong conditioning created soldiers who viewed dangerous circumstance as normal hardships that would break most modern adults. Sleeping outdoors in sub-zero temperatures, drinking blood for sustenance, and riding until physically exhausted became standard experiences rather than extreme situations. Could you endure even a childhood training phase of a Mongol warrior? Could you function after sleeping on frozen ground, maintain composure while killing dangerous predators as a child, or drink horse blood when thirsty? These challenges represented merely the beginning of a Mongol warrior's journey, completed before facing actual battle. This system produced history's most adaptable fighting force. These warriors weren't born exceptional. They were systematically conditioned from childhood through a process reshaping human physical and psychological limits, creating soldiers capable of enduring conditions lethal to ordinary people. Imagine riding 16 hours straight while your legs blister and bleed against the saddle. Your muscles burn with fatigue, but stopping isn't an option. For a Mongol soldier, this wasn't an extreme challenge. It was Tuesday. The physical demands placed on these warriors exceeded what most modern humans could endure for even a single day. The typical day for a Mongol soldier began before dawn. While modern soldiers might complain about barracks, Mongol warriors slept on small felt mats directly on frozen ground. Many woke with frost coating their clothes and facial hair. There were no tents except for commanders. Ordinary soldiers slept exposed to temperatures that regularly dropped well below freezing. The bitter cold served as their alarm clock, forcing them to rise and begin moving to generate body heat. Following this harsh wake-up, a soldier's first responsibility was to his horses. Each warrior maintained between 3 and 5 horses, rotating them to maximize distance covered. Before addressing their own hunger, soldiers checked each horse for injuries, rubbed them down, and ensured they could graze. This horse management system allowed Mongol armies to travel at speeds that shocked their enemies. Their survival and military effectiveness depended entirely on maintaining healthy mounts. The physical demands intensified when soldiers mounted up. Like the relentless beating of war drums, their bodies absorbed the pounding rhythm of 60 to 100 miles daily during campaigns. Modern medical understanding confirms these warriors suffered spine compression, chronic joint pain, and extensive saddle sores that often became infected. Their legs developed deep calluses from constant contact with the horse until the skin hardened into permanent injury. Throughout these grueling journeys, each soldier carried approximately 80 pounds of equipment, weapons, partial armor, and tools, all distributed in ways that placed severe strain on their bodies. Their sustenance came primarily of dried meat, hard cheese, and fermented mare's milk, a diet lacking variety but providing concentrated calories. During extended campaigns, warriors sometimes survived days on blood milk mixtures extracted from their horses, allowing armies to travel through barren regions. The composite bow demanded extraordinary physical strength, requiring up to 160 pounds of force to draw fully. Warriors practiced hundreds of shots daily while at full gallop, developing chest, back, and arm muscles specifically adapted to this motion. This explains their distinctive physical build, powerful upper bodies with bowed legs from lifetime horseback riding. When injuries occurred, treatment was primitive and painful. Wounds were cauterized with heated metal, broken bones set manually and bound with leather straps, all with minimal pain management. Many injuries that modern medicine routinely treats became permanent disabilities or resulted in death. Years of extreme stress physically transformed these warriors. Their skeletal remains showed distinctive adaptations: thickened bone skulls, enlarged shoulder attachments, compressed vertebrae, and permanently bowed leg bones. These changes represent bodies pushed to their absolute limits. The average Mongol soldier endured physical demands exceeding what modern military special forces face during their most intensive training. But for Mongol warriors, this punishing lifestyle continued from adulthood until death or disability. Ask yourself, could you ride from sunrise to sunset while maintaining the strength to draw a 160-pound bow? Could you sleep on frozen ground and wake ready to perform at peak physical capacity? Could your body withstand this strain not for days, but for years? These warriors' bodies were transformed by hardship in ways most modern humans would find impossible to endure. But beyond this physical transformation lies an equally profound psychological one. What happens to the human mind when killing becomes as routine as eating breakfast? For Mongol soldiers, violence wasn't an exceptional event, but a daily obligation that transformed their psychological makeup in profound ways. Mongol military campaigns stretched far beyond modern deployment lengths. While today's soldiers might serve 6 to 12-month tours, Mongol warriors often remained separated from their families for years, sometimes even a decade. Imagine leaving home at age 20 and returning at 30, having missed your children's entire childhood. Could you endure such prolonged separation? These extended absences created emotional voids that camaraderie alone can't fill. The constant uncertainty about family welfare lingered as they traveled territories thousands of miles from the Mongolian steppes. The most psychologically damaging aspect was the expectation to execute entire populations when cities resisted conquest. Warriors who might naturally feel compassion toward women, children, and the elderly were ordered to eliminate them systematically. Historical records document mass killings following city captures, with soldiers required to participate regardless of personal reluctance. This created moral injury, trauma from violating core moral beliefs under orders. Many warriors hesitated before their first civilian execution, then gradually performed such acts with increasing detachment. Would your mind allow such a transition? Loyalty within the Mongol army was enforced through extreme measures. The military code demanded absolute obedience, with failure resulting in immediate execution. This created constant hypervigilance among soldiers who knew minor infractions could cost them their lives. Ever experience the stress of being watched constantly? Now magnify that feeling 1,000-fold with death at the consequence of error. This chronic stress physically damages the brain over time. Death surrounded Mongol soldiers constantly. They witnessed comrades die from battle wounds, disease, and extreme weather conditions. What made this particularly traumatic was the absence of mourning rituals. After watching a friend die, soldiers had no opportunity to process this loss. The campaign moved forward, the body left behind, emotions suppressed. This unprocessed grief created psychological numbing, where soldiers progressively lost their ability to form emotional connections. Unlike today's deployed soldiers who maintain family connections through technology, Mongol warriors experienced years without news from home. This created a psychological limbo where soldiers couldn't process family changes. Many returned to find wives who, believing them dead, had remarried. Children who were toddlers at departure went out teenagers who didn't recognize their fathers. Could you handle returning to a family that had moved on without you? Sleep deprivation further eroded mental stability. The constant threat of ambush forced soldiers to sleep in short shifts. Extended sleep deprivation causes hallucinations, paranoia, and impaired decision-making. Conditions Mongol soldiers operated under for months to years, their perception of reality itself becoming increasingly unreliable. Perhaps most demanding was the expectation to withstand torture if captured. Warriors were trained to maintain composure regardless of pain, knowing their families would be dishonored if they revealed information. They carried this weight into every battle, the fear of bringing shame to loved ones through weakness. This combination of factors produced warriors who functioned through psychological adaptation. They suppressed natural human emotions to become efficient fighters. Their capacity for empathy diminished as violent actions became routine. This psychological conditioning fundamentally altered their emotional responses. The psychological resilience of Mongol warriors developed through progressive exposure to trauma. Their minds adapted to circumstances most modern humans never face, at the cost of altered personality and emotional capacity. Their conquest encompassed both physical territory and the boundaries of human psychological endurance. The Mongol soldier represents history's most physically and mentally conditioned warrior. From drinking blood milk mixtures to sleeping on frozen ground, their daily life involved hardships that would break most modern humans within days. Their existence demonstrates how human endurance can be pushed through lifelong conditioning. They endured frozen nights, drank animal blood, and rode hundreds of miles without a complaint. As military historian S.R. Turnbull affirmed, the Mongols created an almost perfect combination of firepower, shock tactics, and mobility, with operations performed like clockwork. Next time you gripe about a cold morning, remember the Mongol warrior who conquered the very limits of human endurance.